What is going on, world? What's up, everyone? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new StarCraft 2 video. This one features the current world champion of StarCraft 2 and his opponent, one of the best Protoss players on the planet. Spawning here in the bottom left-hand corner of Blue Shift LE, playing with the red Zerg pieces. He's known as the best player on the planet and is up 1-0 and wants to close out this series right here and right now. His name is Serral. And his opponent, spawning in the cross position, playing with the blue Protoss pieces. He is known as one of the best Protoss players out there. He's down in this series, but certainly not out. His name is sOs. So, guys and girls, you can check out game number 1 in this best of 3 series on the YouTube channel right now, and I hope you will do that, because game number 1 just showed how Serral's defense is one of, if not, in my opinion, the best defense in the world when it comes to StarCraft 2. These two players are incredible at what they do. Obviously, there is no question about it. Serral, best player on the planet. We all know this. These are just, these are simply just facts, guys. He has proven it time and time again. This series, and this game in particular, guys, was played at Blizzcon, which of course is the global finals of StarCraft 2. And this is what I will say, this was played within the group stages, so this was actually Group B of the group stages, so a best of 3 series, so every game counts, guys. Each of these games is extremely important in the overall success of your group, and then you try to advance, of course, to the playoffs and move your way through the bracket, which, of course, BlizzCon is the biggest event of the year for these guys, so it is something that is super important to them. But game number 1 definitely showed, guys, the incredible defense of Serral. And game number 2, we're going to see if that defense is going to continue, or is Serral going to be the one who's a little bit more aggressive. We will have to see here shortly. sOs decides to go for a pretty standard build here, guys. Not seeing anything terribly out of the ordinary. Gateway Cybernetics Core, and then the Natural Nexus. And we got the Hatch Gas Pool coming out of Serral. He's going to go ahead and get that Zergling speed upgrade going relatively early. The most standard Zerg upgrade, I guess you could say. And the most, and then, of course, the same can be said for sOs, going for that Warp Gate research. For the warp, for the gateways, pretty much the most standard upgrade for a Protoss player as well. So, like I said, in game number 1, guys, Serral is all about information and seeing exactly what his opponent is doing, even if that means he has to sacrifice an Overlord or 2 during the course of a game to see exactly what's going on in, the natural base, the main base. Robotics facility is kind of being hidden here for the time being. Actually in the main base location, so we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. Looks like a warp gate or a warp prism is going to be coming out of that robotics facility here. A couple of adepts have made their way across the map here. They're going to shade and see if there's any kind of scouting information they can get, at least at this point. Do not want to lose both of these adepts. They do shade away right before meeting their maker, so to speak, guys. So here we go, guys. This is, this is what Serral does so well. He's now going on that 3rd base location, and he's so good at, just scouting information, seeing exactly what's going on. The timings are just absolutely impeccable. These Zerglings move right into that natural location, starting to cause a little bit of some havoc. If at least nothing else, they do get a little bit of some lost mining time. So beautiful play here already by Serral. Immortals are going to be coming out now out of that robotics facility. Looks like we're setting ourselves up for a macro-focused game, guys. Roach Warren's coming up now for Serral. More and more queens are coming out too. This is kind of becoming the standard for Zerg players to get a lot of queens. They are essentially one of, if not the best unit in all of StarCraft 2. I mean, they just do so much. They're so good for defense. They're so good to have as a part of your army composition. And of course, they spread that creep spread, which is what the Zerg player wants to be able to do so desperately. So, like I said, we're kind of moving ourselves into a standard macro-focused game here, which is what Serral is so good at. I think if I'm sOs, I'm down 0-1 against the best player on the planet. I need to be the one who's aggressive here and really try to make Serral uneasy, which I know is very, very difficult, but you got to do that if you're playing against someone of the likes of Serral. You absolutely need to keep him a little bit uneasy and keep him at home. Does look like that War Prism is going to be under a little bit of some pressure. But all that said and done, nothing too critical as of yet. Couple more gateways are going down here for SOS. I'm wondering who's going to be the one who really puts on most of the aggression. It looks like Serral's getting more and more roaches out now. These Zerglings are going to see that there are a decent amount of sentries out on the map right now. Glial Reconstitution is being researched right now out of that Roach Warren. So something that we should keep track of is, there's a decent amount of sentries out right now, which can be very good for a Protoss player with all, with some well-timed force fields. That is very, very good for a Protoss player. But I would like to see some more Immortals, as well as maybe a few Zealots, Stalkers possibly. Does look like this small army is going to start moving across the map here. It looks like SOS is kind of, a little getting ready to get onto that third Nexus so far. He definitely wants to try to go ahead and get his economy as booming as possible, as you could say, against this Roach Ravager army that is starting to be built up here by Serral. Now, he's got a lot of Zerglings moving across the map here, and it looks like he's got some of those Roaches that may start moving across the map on the opposite side here. Those Zerglings are going to try to move in. Beautiful force fields get a couple of those Zerglings there. And it does look like Serral's kind of, splitting up his army. He's preparing for a, for a drawn-out fight here. He wants to see if he can get an angle on his opponent. Serral is kind of, the one right now that is really kind of creating the issues here. He really wants to try to be the more aggressive player between these two. Now, SOS, guys, is an absolute force to be reckoned with the Protoss pieces. We all know this. He is definitely not someone you should take very lightly. And going on a third Nexus right now, this could pose a problem later on here for Serral. Once the Protoss player gets on a few 3 bases, that's when you'll start seeing a very strong army composition out of the Protoss player. I do like, though, what Serral's got as well, though. I really like, the Roach Ravager and then the Zerglings, as well as a lot of Queens. Banelings are going to be coming up now as well, and I love that decision making. But this army is now moving across the map, is on creep. The creep spread is getting completely out of hand here. Serral is so good at spreading that creep. Now you gotta be careful while you're moving onto creep. You don't want to get too far onto creep here. This would make me a little bit nervous if I'm the Protoss player at this point. A couple of Zerglings are trying to get to that third base location. Beautiful force fields here, but it does look like the Biles are going to go right on top of those force fields here, and I wonder, he's going to try to swallow up this army here. That is, Serral is absolutely taking over this army at this point in the game, going right after all of them. GG is called, and just like that, Serral wins this series between SOS 2-0 in dominant fashion. I hope you guys did enjoy this game between Serral and SOS, and if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.